Welcome to another episode of Cooking with me, Janet Bari. I've been requested to make a video on a basic tomato sauce. I was a little reluctant because everybody has their own sauce that they make. This is basic. This is the next best thing to jarring your own tomatoes. Most restaurants use canned tomatoes, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use tomatoes. I prefer imported from Italy. If not, I use whatever's on sale. You get to know the brands you like and you don't like. Before we get started, I like to give you a few helpful hints. So we discussed the tomatoes. Very important. If you want to really make a good, authentic Italian sauce, you have to use fresh ingredients. So try to use, I always have, fresh oregano, fresh parsley. Your sauce will be so much fresher, especially for a basic sauce. Minced onions, I promise after you saute them and cook them, you won't find the onions in your sauce. Minced garlic, freshly ground pepper, freshly grated cheese. Salt is the last thing I add. Because the cheese has a lot of salt in it. So I'm very careful with my salt. And let's not forget olive oil. Another very important factor here is a thick pot, not a thin aluminum pan. If you use a thin aluminum pan, you'll burn your sauce, it'll cook too quickly, just will be terrible. I like to stir it with a wooden spoon. So the first thing we're going to do is heat up the pot and add the olive oil. Come, let's show you. We'll get a little closer. I've used 4 cans of tomatoes today, so I'll use maybe 4 teaspoons of olive oil. I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of onion. We're just going to saute that a bit. I'm going to give it a drop more oil. Just let that get a little transparent. Don't put too many spices. You're not making an onion sauce. So just, a little onion. As for garlic, I use 1 small clove of garlic for every can, which is about almost 2 pounds. There's my garlic. So remember, when the garlic comes to the top, it's cooked. Very important when you're grinding your tomatoes. If you want a chunky sauce, mine's just very little. See, there's little pieces of tomato. Some people like their tomato sauce smooth, so grind it more. Some like it a little chunkier. So here's my last 2 cans. There's nice tomatoes. They're perfectly ripened when they're picked and canned. It's almost better than fresh tomatoes, unless it's a Pomodoro sauce. So again, I just want to keep a little pulp, not a lot of pulp. I'm not whipping this, I'm just grinding it. There you go. You can see the little pieces of tomato. So we're going to bring the sauce to a low simmer. At this point, I can add this is freshly chopped from my garden, oregano and parsley. At the end, when I'm almost done cooking, that's when I'll add grated cheese and fresh basil. I can add a little fresh pepper. Again, the salt is the last thing I add. And we're going to bring this to a simmer. Even though my sauce appears thick, it is a little chunky. So because it's a little chunky, we're going to add some tomato paste. So if you like a thick, richer sauce, just add a can of tomato paste to my 4 cans of tomatoes. So now I'm going to let this simmer and we'll be back. It's actually been about an hour. My tomatoes are cooked. At the end, it's when I like to add my cheese. I'll add my 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup of freshly grated cheese. Besides freezing it, I'm going to jar some of the sauce today. You could take the sauce and just put it right in the jar and prepare it for jarring and stick a fresh basil leaf in there. I don't have a fresh basil leaf. I have some frozen. So I'm just going to add, I love my frozen basil. Just going to add it. I like to put it at the end and that's it. And there's your basic sauce. At this point, my whole house smells of fresh tomato sauce. This is when I have to guard my sauce from my husband coming in and dipping with some bread. I have frozen some sauce and I'm also jarring some sauce. The moment of truth. Delicious. It's great over fresh pasta, but for me, it's a basic sauce that I always have on hand in my pantry or in my freezer. Thank you for joining me today for another episode of Cooking with Janet Bari. Please subscribe, like, and share. Until next time, ciao, ciao.